right, so here's something to think about the next time you drive or walk by someone who looks like they could use a little hope. A big percentage of trafficking victims in this country actually are from foster care.
Why? Well, because once a girl turns 18, she is out on her own, and let's say she doesn't have a plan, she doesn't know where to go, she is likely to find herself in trouble. The Teen Project operates 5 sites now with 8 homes locally, giving young women a place to find hope. To appreciate the work the Teen Project does today and everything it has accomplished over the years, you have to understand the story of how it came to exist. Lori Burns is the woman behind the idea. She grew up in an abusive home. As a child, she attempted to take her own life several times.
I was so traumatized by what had happened to me that I wasn't even able to go to a foster home. I was in group homes. And I ended up aging out of the system. I ended up homeless at 18, and shortly after that, had a baby and started working the streets as a prostitute to survive. I don't know if you know this, but like 60% of the trafficking victims in the United States are from foster care.
Lori lived on the streets for several years. She started doing drugs, lost custody of her daughter, and at one point she was abducted by gang members.
They had a gun and they were going to kill me. Somewhere in the midst of being beaten, raped, and having that gun in my head, I realized, you know what, Lori? You want to die. So I started screaming as loud as I could that they would just kill me, to just get it over with.
But they let her go. One of her Johns, a wheelchair-reliant Vietnam veteran who she called for help, took her to a detox center and then a long-term rehab. Lori spent a year there, got her daughter back from foster care, and that veteran who had helped save her ended up training her in computers.
He was angry and alone. He kept on calling for me just to hang out with me and pay me to hang out with him.
Lori started taking classes, became a computer networking engineer, worked at several large firms, launched her own successful consulting company, then signed a contract with Northrop Grumman, where she worked as a project manager and eventually became the IT director. In 2007, Lori started the Teen Project with her best friend on LegalZoom, and from there, everything started to fall into place.
A very generous man read my book on Amazon and donated $1 million to help us. I quit my job in technology and I started running the Teen Project, and today we have 126 beds for foster kids, trafficking victims, anywhere from the age of 15 all the way up to 30. We have a crisis center. We have free drug detox, free drug residential programs, a home for moms and babies that are pregnant or with their babies, and a children's home, the very first children's home ever in Orange County for victims of human trafficking.
Lori says reflecting back on her past and everything she endured prepared her for all of this.
When I was a child and I was going through all this, and this is an important message, especially for our kids or any children that are listening, when you're going through this, you really think God is punishing you and hates you. But it wasn't until the time when I started to go to the agency, where I was usually on the other side of the door as a child, but now I was the adult picking up the child, that I realized he was training me to pick up these kids. And without that, I just wouldn't be right here, right now, which is the most amazing life with the most amazing kids. And knowing that now, I would do my whole life again on the streets with my dad, with the woods, with those guys, because it's what it takes to get here. I started taking in kids when I was like 26 and I'm 58 now. So a lot of years of picking up kids, but I gotta tell you, it's just as brilliant every time they call me with a new kid. I can't wait to get over there and get them. And it just makes all that bad turn so good.
What a story, huh?
What an amazing program.
Lori says that if you see a girl in the street, don't just go past them. You can really do something about that. You know, offer them some help. In fact, that number you see right there on your screen, call that number for them or offer that number for them, 1-800-685-7460. That simple little step can be the hope that they need. That can really just like change everything for them. She also has it set up that someone always picks up the call. She doesn't ever want the call to go to voicemail.
I totally get that. And it's so true. There's so many kids that once they're kicked out of foster care, they have so few, if any, options. Most of them don't have the kind of familial support they need, which is how a lot of them ended up in foster care to begin with.
Exactly.
It's really a tough cycle to break.
It is, but there's one woman working with an amazing team trying to do just that.
That's awesome.
And it also reminds us that the people that we often see on the street, we think we know their story. We have no idea. We have no idea how the system, how adults, how people failed them repeatedly until they got to that point. So, Araxia, that was incredible.